Hey everybody, it's Rob here. We finally got a date for the next Campfire Chat for Season Stand starting next week, September 16th. There's a full blog post here with new Twitch drops coming as well. And then I also have a draft here for a first look at the tier list and the top builds to play for the next season. So let's get into it here. So September 16th is the date for the next live stream. And for those of you who don't know, the season start is also confirmed to be on the 23rd. So in 1 week, we have the Campfire stream, and then in the other week, we have the season start already. And keep in mind, they want to have a new format of the live stream. So this is going to be a bit more action-packed. I hope they have some more like cinematics and trailers, and I think there's a lot we can expect for next week. Hope it's going to be cool, like a new style of podcast, and we can also give feedback on all of that. And then they will talk about the Chaos Armor, the changes that are coming. I'm expecting a lot of balance changes and bug fixes, the new Chaos Rifts that are coming, and the Infernal Horde changes, of course, as well as a Q&A session. This is going to be streamed everywhere. We'll also be streaming it here on my Twitch and on my YouTube channel next week. And then you also can claim your Twitch drops here for 30 minutes of watching any live stream in the Diablo 4 category. You can get this cool bow for the next season, and there's just like all the stuff here, how you link your account and stuff. And then I'm getting asked a lot of questions. Obviously, this is all like work in progress and pretty much like not guaranteed to stay like this. We'll see the final patch notes next week, but going into the patch right now, I have like a bit of a draft here with the top builds, and there are some pretty cool new builds here. All in all, like the Ball Lightning Sorcerer, like you see this here, like in the Infernal Hordes. We'll go through everything here real quick. So Sorcerer is still remaining one of the powerhouses. Hydra gets a small nerf, but is still more than viable with the Chaos Armor. And there's a new build here, or an old new build coming back. This is the Ball Lightning Sword, like fan favorite. You can see this blitzing here through the Infernal Hordes, getting a 2,000 ether. So this is like a super insane build, and it's all possible thanks to the new season powers. We already have a bunch of planners. I'm going to link the blog post and this list here below, and we'll quickly talk about some of the top builds here. So Ball Lightning is looking pretty good again. This can also do Pit 118, I think is the highest clear, and you can see here you can get well above 2,000 ether here, just blasting down these last wave with the Ball Lightning Sorg. So there's a couple of planners here. This is the big Ball Sorg, basically. Banished Lord's Talisman, you overpower every time. The Crown of Lucion that you can now use on boots, and this is like super cool. And there's also been 118 pit clear here, which is also linked in the tier list. And you can see this is like hitting for trillions on trillions. This is just basically shooting out Ball Lightning, as you can see here, and absolutely like hammering down all this content here. And this is going to do well above 120 pit, and one of the top builds next season. The Hydra Sorg is still remaining strong. The thing is, with Hydra Sorg, you can now use the Serpentine aspect on the amulet slot, because you can use the Ophidian Iris as a chaos power, putting it here on the boots, making it extremely useful. On top of this, you get Fist of Fate and some of the crazy season powers here. The Mana Shield giving you like 20,000 plus mana, and a bunch of multipliers, especially with the alternating alliterations here and the power cipher, going absolutely crazy in terms of core skills, giving you a tremendous amount of multipliers. And this is just gonna rock like crazy with the Ball Sorg, with the Hydra Sorg. And there's also a new Sorg here. This is like the Crackling Energy Sorg. These planners are a bit work in progress, but you basically have the Esodora overflowing. That's doing a ton of damage here in combination with the charged flash, which basically does damage from your charge bolt triggers based on your crackling energy. And you can get a ton of like, crackling energy multipliers here going. So Sorg is eating very good again. We'll see the final patch notes. I'm probably expecting some of the core stuff to get tuned down a bit. But this was so strong, like blasting Pit 120 is going to be like no problem. T4 and speed farming and the Ball Lightning Sorg, as well as the Hydra Sorg. I think we're going to remain like top builds in the game. And then we have the Spiritborn. And Spiritborn actually goes kind of crazy. I've had some hits here with the Touch of Death Spiritborn here in the 60 trillion. And you see here like 62 trillion damage. And this is like per hit. Like there's like a bunch of like pretty crazy hits there, 30 trillion, 20 trillion. And this is all thanks to the crazy combination that you can do now, where you basically have a multiplier in every slot, especially on stuff like a Payback or on the Touch of Death, where you have like a crazy amount of multipliers. You have the War Kreuzer here, unique helm, giving you a tremendous bonus here to all the potency skills. And this is like a potency skill that you just transfer into a core skill. So there's the Harmony of Ebelwaka, which is buffed. You can have the Banished Lord Talisman. Like basically all of these are overpower hits. And you can also rock with the Rod of Kepaleka on the boots now, while still having enough slots for an aspect here that's going to go pretty crazy. And you can do a bunch of combinations. I think all these builds are going to perform pretty well. I might even move them all up into S tier. I think Spiritborn has a bunch of top of A tier, potentially S tier builds with this combination. I myself was able to do like a pit 122 on the PTR with some of these combinations. I'll show you the footage here in the next weeks. We have a lot of content coming. So they are like pretty crazy, and they absolutely destroy the content with so many multipliers. And this actually is viable for basically every core skill. You can play Touch of Death, you can play Payback, you can play Stinger, Crushing Hands, Quill Volley. You can still play the Thorns, which is still very strong. They finally did fix some of the double dipping, the Plains power. However, there is still a lot of double dipping with the Mystic Circles and other stuff going on. So I'm not sure where this is going to land with the double dipping. However, like right now, the Spiritborn is still one of the strongest. It's like S tier is like for Sorc and Spiritborn mainly. There's like many builds you can play. And then another cool build here that's kind of making a comeback is the Evade Spiritborn. We already played this a couple of seasons ago. This is like one of the best farming builds of the entire game, and it's only getting stronger now. You can kind of see this is like here, pit 70 is just completely blasting it, and I think this can like farm upwards of pit 80s as well. It goes completely nuts here. How high it can go and how fast the runs are once you are playing, you know, with the teleport rune. I think I have like a pit, okay, this is also pit 80, but they are basically like blasting crazy. And they're getting a ton of multipliers now with the Chaos perks as well. And just having one of the best farming builds here right after the Sorcerer, the Evade Spiritborn, is back strong, and they also changed a lot of other stuff. So Spiritborn is eating very good. I'm mainly looking forward to, you know, all the core skills here. I can show you quickly. I think there's 120 clear. Like just looking at some of the damage here that we can do with this build, it's tremendous. So you're basically just like rocking forward, and you make a pull, and you can see here like the billions and trillions basically going. This is like a similar to All Quill here, you see 20 trillion per hit, and this is just 120. Basically gonna be a speed run, and you can do this with any of the core skills. Stinger also got a crazy buff this patch. It might also like scratch the SC there. You see 10 trillion again. It's just completely melting the packs, and man, Spiritborn is a very solid choice. Next season, I believe. We'll see the final patch notes. I could see some of the Jaguar double dipping like being fully fixed. I would still hope so. It's going to make the Spiritborn a bit weaker, but it's still going to remain a tremendous power. So there's like a ton of cool builds on the Spiritborn that you can play. Then, if you like to play the Druid, guys, you can still play the Pulverized Puddle Druid. The Rotting Lightbringer is also part of the Chaos powers, and you can now put this on your boots and play the Rabbit aspect, which got slightly nerfed, but still putting this on a two-hander is so crazy with Pulverize to hit twice, and you can finally masterwork the Willpower on Rotting Lightbringer. Like, this is completely crazy. On top of this, you also can rock the Banished Lord's Talisman now, giving you a crazy amount of damage here. A 72% X, as well as more ranks in core skills and attack speed and overpower damage. And this was already like, you know, SS plus tier build before, and this is just only going to remain stronger. There was also a lot of bugs on the Druid. I think you had like a Druid sitting for hundreds of trillions. There was this new Raven Druid that's pretty strong still. Companion Druid is insane. I'm thinking they will probably nerf the overabundance. It was way too crazy, this Chaos perk here. I'm expecting this to be nerfed a bit, you know, next week. But we'll see by how much, because this was basically infinite scaling and basically allowed all the Druid builds, not even just the Ravens, but every build to deal basically infinite amount of damage and clear 150. Obviously, we don't want this in the game. I hope they don't completely destroy it, because overabundance, I think, is a pretty cool concept. I would expect slight tweaks to this. And but still, Druid is going to remain. I was even like thinking that Druid might be the highest clear overall. Like this 120 plus here is pretty conservative. I think it's going to go like way crazier. Like this is going to do like probably 125 or something like this. And this might be catapulted all the way to the top. But we'll see. Hydra Sorc is still absolutely cooked contender. And we'll see what's going to happen with all of that. Then you have the Mighty Throw one-shot, a build that is always pretty strong, and they haven't really like nerfed anything. And this build can basically fit in Whirlwind, and it also fits in, you know, the Battle Trance Amulet. It fits in Banished Lords. It can fit in the new sword here, the Saber of Tzaskal, which also gives you a tremendous amount of multipliers. I've also seen some hits here. Let me see if I can find the screenshots. Right here it is. Open link. I've also seen, this hit for like hundreds of trillions. You can see here, this is from my friend Tuming from China. He's hitting for 110 trillion just with every single throw. However, again, this is a build that's based on the rotation. You can only hit this hard every 12 seconds. That's still the top contender on the Barb. However, I have another one that I wanted to show you here, because this is like a build that's not really like playable by most, more casual players. It's not really like a fun build. It's not really like a farming build. But there's a new build here that I also have a planner for. I want to show you real quick. This is basically a Whirlwind dual basic build with the new dual threat. You can see this is hitting for like hundreds of billions, can even hit up to 1 trillion damage. And this is speed farming. Basically, you're whirlwinding, and as you whirlwind, you basically animation cancel with your basic skills. Whirlwind is resetting the cooldowns of your basic skills. You're guaranteed to overpower, you're guaranteed to crit with this, and you're guaranteed to have a lot of fun. You can lunging strike forward, you can whirlwind forward, and your lunging strike is casting your frenzy. And then when your lunging strike's on cooldown, your frenzy is casting your lunging strike, and the whirlwind with Rage of Howlgas is reducing your cooldown. And you can have a pretty solid build. You see this like here, 2.5 minute clear in Pit 100, super fun with the Whirlwind Dual Basic. I have this one in 80. It's not really like the best pushing build. It can push like in the 110s, and maybe they even buff it. I could see like basic skills being a bit more buffed going forward. This is like a really cool build. I have the planner already right here. This is the, where is it at? Barb, Dual Basic Barb. It's pretty cool. It's using this new things here, the unstable power, where you basically get double damage, guaranteed crit, guaranteed overpower, and the dual threat where casting one basic skill is also triggering the other basic skill. And we're rocking here lunging and frenzy, and then whirlwind to reduce the cooldowns with the Rage of Harrogath, which you can also put on another armor slot now for 72% of increased damage. And then I was like thinking maybe we'll rock the Fist of Fate with it. You could go for a lucky hit here, and you're basically going to reset the cooldown on every single chance you get. I'm not sure what the best way to masterwork stuff is, but you can find all the planners here with all the new season powers in the description below. It's all in this spreadsheet here as well. Then we have 2 more classes. One here is the Necromancer, and there are some pretty crazy things happening on the Necromancer. This was one of the highest PTR clickers that I've seen. This is the Shadow Blight Necromancer with the Alter the Balance Chaos perk, going completely crazy, making you similar to the Death Trap Rogue, if you guys remember, transforming your ultimate skills into core skills. And this has unlocks basically a bunch of multipliers, and you can rock the Aven Piercer on gloves or on the Chaos Armor. You can rock the Little Sword and the Fist of Fate and just have a great time with this Shadow Blight key passive. I was able to see like 121 clear here on the PTR with this. This was played by O, so it's going completely crazy, and you can kind of see the ridiculous damage that this does. It also like kills the boss extremely fast. It also looks pretty cool. You can even speed farm with this. So there are like a ton of options with this build, and you see the AoE and the attack speed and the craziness of this build, and it also like blasts down the full boss here. There's also the full gear. Again, this is all linked in the description in the spreadsheet. And yeah, this is going to be one of the coolest builds there is. And then there is also the Bone Splinter Necromancer, which makes a big comeback. It's basically like you shoot one bone spirit, and I think it splinters into like a bunch of basic attacks here. With the Shattered Splinter aspect here, casting Bone Spirit launches 18 Bone Splinters, and this like splits around. We had this like 3 seasons ago or something, and this is now tremendously powerful with a ton of the new multipliers that you can now put in the Chaos Armor. This can also do like probably Pit 118, and then the Bloodwave Necro. You know, they've nerfed it, they've buffed it many times, and it's still one of the strongest Necro builds that you can play. And it's still a lot of fun. So this is like my S tier ranking. Like you know, after 80, I haven't really like looked at that much. I've only looked at the top builds here, and obviously there's one class missing. However, this class has been the weakest for a long time now. It's the Rogue, and Rogue also had many bugs on the PTR. There is a Raid of Arrow Rogues which has a big potential to be crazy strong. However, we'll have to see what they do with all the bug fixes. There's also a Dance of Knights, which is like a spin-to-win Rogue version. I definitely look to make a planner for this as well once we have the final patch notes. And Death Trap Rogue is still pretty solid for all the farming and stuff. However, Rogue right now still looks to be the weakest, in my opinion. This would still be kind of my class ranking. I don't know, like Spiritborn or Sork and Druid. Like, these are all kind of equal, I feel. Necro is also super strong, and then Barb and Rogue are like a little bit behind still. So I didn't really like change this much, but we'll see once we get the, you know, final patch notes here and the final changes, what they'll do. Again, I'm expecting some of the core skills on Druid with Overabundance and on the Sorcerer with the infinite scaling and mana shield come down a bit. I'm hoping that they fix the bugs on the Rogue. Maybe they'll buff basic skills a bit throughout the board. Certainly would appreciate it on Barb. Maybe even Whirlwind gets another buff, because Whirlwind's still like very weak. I have it like all the way down somewhere. Spiritborn, I think, is in a very good spot. Sork's in a very good spot. Druid is in a very good spot, even if Overabundance gets a bit of a nerf. And then, yeah, we'll see, like, Mighty Throw is still, like, out there. I'm kind of expecting, like, a little bit of a tune down for Mighty Throw. It's just such a crazy build, but it's just so, like, you know, I'm friendly to play, like, a 12-second rotation. I don't really feel people enjoy this, and I would much rather see some other bar builds, you know, making it into the top tiers. That would certainly be cool. I'm definitely digging this, like, you know, dual basic Whirlwind build. That was, like, kind of cool to play with spin to win, but obviously Whirlwind is never dealing the damage. However, we'll see, guys. PTR has already concluded, and we get the patch notes and the full stuff here next Tuesday with a new format of the live stream. Definitely looking forward to this. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll be live checking this all out. I'll see you soon. Take it easy, my friends. GG. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like or a comment. I'm also live on Twitch almost every day, so come and say hi.